We are reviewing the newest album from Braids titled Shadow Offering, and the first track is Here For You. What'd you think?
I think the Stromboli that I'm eating is pretty good. Yeah, I like Here For You. It's got this ethereal production. The singer has a great voice, and it really conveys this sense of hope and longing. Or I should say hurt hope. It's like she's been hurt before, but she still holds out hope. So that was really powerful to listen to. I like the first track.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, it's kind of like this dramatic, ethereal piano ballad about like still being connected to someone long after the two have separated. I also like the presentation of the track, the way it like gets more full of sound whenever the chorus comes up. I thought was a nice touch. Yeah, I think I agree with you. There's a lot of interesting like bittersweetness of the track, a lot like balancing like hurt and hopefulness. I agree. Yeah, great opener. Moving on, Young Buck. What'd you think of this one?
Sorry, this Stromboli is still really good. Yeah, so Young Buck, I think it carries some of the good characteristics of the first song, but it's a little repetitive. Or the chorus is a little repetitive. She just repeats Young Buck, Young Buck, Young Buck.
No, that's not what she... That's not what she says.
Are you sure?
Dog, that's not what she says.
Are you sure she doesn't say Young Buck, Young Buck, Young Buck?
No, she says during the chorus, be loved by you, be loved by you.
Oh, well, that's almost as bad as saying Young Buck over and over.
Damn.
It's repetitive. It did remind me of like past relationships and made me reflect on kind of like my own. So that was interesting. It's kind of like a look in the mirror. I like this song too. It definitely made me feel very reflective. It felt reflective from her, and I took that reflection and directed it at myself. Yeah, it was kind of like a tough one to listen to, but I enjoyed this one as well.
Yeah, I agree. This is like a bop and a half. I like the sleuthy like dance instrumental with like the. I think the hook is like amazing.
What was that?
What?
It was a what and a half? A thought and a half?
No, a bop and a half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A bop, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I love the hook on here. I actually thought the repetitions along with like the instrumental progressing along with each one was very fitting. Had me singing along. I could not get it out of my head for a couple of days. I still listen to it religiously. Thematically, it does carry over some of the themes from the first track, and it has some more vulnerable lyrics, or some more like personal lyrics, like the fact that she's going out for like numbing sex with an attractive person, mostly to fulfill. Mostly because she has a sense of like wanting to be wanted or like noticed or needed in a way from either good or bad influences. So yeah, I thought it was great, really good. Next one is Eclipse Ashley. What do you think of this one?
Hold on, I'm reading through my scribbles.
Scribble.
Oh yeah. This one was the lesbian love ballad. Actually, yeah, this one just wasn't lyrically powerful for me. I think it did shed a little bit of light on her past relationships. Was Ashley her friend, or is she like bi? I didn't really.
I think it's more like an ode to a friend more than like a lesbian relationship, like you mentioned.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not entirely sure, but like that's what I got from it.
They were getting pretty close under that blanket in their music video.
I did not watch the music video, so you have more context on that than I do.
Yeah, no, I didn't really enjoy this one. I think whether it was a friendship or a past romantic relationship, the song did shed a bit of light on her past relationship experience, but it just wasn't very powerful for me. It didn't carry the same sort of energy that the first two tracks did, so I didn't really enjoy it as much.
I actually really like this one a lot too. There's some like intershifting like piano and chord arpeggios that I really liked. The structure of this track is like very dynamic in a way. Like there is like a typical hook verse hook blueprint, but like the progression of the instrumental makes the track more alive in that way. I also like the post rock ending at the as the outro of the track. Um, I think vocally it was very similar to like something I would hear from like Joni Mitchell, which is I think what a lot of people who have listened to that song are
I
saying.
agree.
From the lyrics, I don't really. I got more of like an existential topic or like an existential like point of view with like these constant nods of like the imaginative limitations we give ourselves with like certain conditions and contexts. Uh, I might be 100% wrong though, but that's what I got from. But yeah, I think I thought the end of the track was beautiful and another bop for me.
Do you want the last bite?
Yeah, just stick it, throw it in my mouth.
Okay.
Got it. Um, the next one is Just Let Me. What do you think of this one?
Just let me. Oh yeah, yeah. This is like, where did our love go? But instead, she says, "Just let me." Yeah, this is like.
This is kind of like, you know, that soft cell song, "Where Did Our Love Go"?
Yeah.
There's like an extended version where it's like, "Where Did Our Love Go?" And then that other soft cell song, I think it's like the one that goes "bah bah." You know what I'm talking about? Which one is that? It's da, 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 da. Hold on, I gotta remember it. It was in La La Land. You know what I'm talking about?
I do not.
It was the oh, it's Tainted Love. Of course it is. So there's like an extended version with Tainted Love
Mm-hmm.
and Where Did Our Love Go? Both by Soft Cell. And like the first part is like, you know, kind of angry, and then the second half, Where Did Our Love Go, is like much more upbeat.
Yeah.
So yeah, this song by, is it Braids?
Yeah.
Yeah. This song by Braids really reminds me of "Where Did Our Love Go" by Soft Cell. If it wasn't at all like it, and I hated the song. Yeah, this song was not good. It was boring.
Mhm.
It doesn't fit chronologically. So like chronologically in the sense that I feel like
It flows together with the other songs.
yeah, like it doesn't flow on the album, and I feel like she's already shown parts of her feelings towards past loves, and so I felt like the feelings I was getting on this track were not. It's kind of like I'd already heard it before, or it didn't really make sense to me. It's kind of hard to describe that. Yeah, but overall, it just really didn't give me any complex. Didn't bring any complex, I guess, thoughts or feelings to the table for me. So overall, not a good track. And also, before you get to this, the next two tracks, "Upheaval" and "Fear of Men," I was bored, uninspired, thought it was generic, felt very samey. Overall, just kind of meh.
Yeah.
But I will say on "Fear of Men," she does showcase her good voice. I definitely think she has a good voice. So, you know, keep it up, champ. But while you covered these three, I'm going to go get some more Stromboli, and I'll be right back for "Snow Angel."
I guess I'm talking to the camera now. Yeah, so on Just Let Me, I really enjoyed this one too. I like the kind of simple piano rhythms at the beginning amongst this like soft turbulence, and the way it progresses as the guitars kind of go forward in the track, especially along the chorus, is fantastic. The vocal performance is stellar, and the lyrics are conveying this like couple that are having this like massive chasm, or they have this massive chasm in between them, but they're only an arm's reach away from each other, like showing this heated turmoil that they have. I think there is a verse that repeats, and I think it fits to show how often these fights and arguments happen. So I really enjoy taking away from the track that taking away from this track was seeing how in these like times of turmoil, they just want like, or she just wants this feeling of peace or armistice in a way. So yeah, I thought it was great. I also love the hook on this one. Awesome.
Do you think we could petition the CIA to play the Charlie XCX albums in replacement of waterboarding, like as enhanced interrogation?
Okay. I got done with Just Let Me. I thought it was great. So I'm moving on to Upheaval. So yeah, I thought I thought Upheaval too was like, it kind of serves as this like this moment of both like self cruelty and self reflection. The lyrics mentioning not stopping her as she's like wading through this mess, and once she's at the peak of the mountain, figuratively in the song, she kind of ponders upon all these questions about different scenarios. It's another well-paced like post-rock instrumental with some buzzing guitars and some interesting progressions. I also like how the vocals are mixed to louden at certain intervals. I think it adds a nice etherealness to the track. Yeah, so at this point of the album, I'm really enjoying it so far. But I will agree with you. I wasn't a big fan of Fear of Men. I do like the synthy rock. Oh my, I'm stupid. The synth rocky instrumental. Well, I will say I do appreciate aspects of the song, like this topic of like having this like fear of men. I know, but like not all men. Remember that. But more so those who like see themselves as like alphas and don't respect like women's boundaries and stuff like that. It can be a bit preachy, especially on the second verse, but the message was good. It's just musically, I did not get a whole lot out of it. Didn't really incentivize me to do anything or to come back to it. Okay, moving on to Snow Angel. What do you think of this one?
Speaking of preachy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So first of all, Snow Angel, I think more than any other track felt very samey. I could have sworn the production on this track was the exact same as the one from Fear of Men or Upheaval. I don't really remember because those all blend together for me. Mm-hmm. I should give the good stuff before I get to what I didn't like. Yeah. Good stuff was there was some spoken word, which kind of I guess a fair bit of spoken word.
Yeah.
I say some because there was no other spoken word like at all in the album, so it kind of like spiced things up for me. But yeah, that was different, I guess. But yeah, man, this track, so basically she's, I think this like white girl, and she's talking about racial injustice, global warming, and all of these global issues that, yes, are issues. And I think I was really trying to figure out why it made me want to puke. Mm-hmm. And I think I've realized that it's not so much talking about national issues like racial injustice or global issues like global warming and mm-hmm. kind of it's not that raising these issues and getting people thinking about them makes me inherently want to puke. Yeah. I think it's when an artist or a politician or anyone, myself included, takes one of these issues and then somehow manages to turn this like important crisis into me. Like, oh, I'm so horrible. Like, I think one of her lyrics itself is like, I'm just this white girl contributing to all this shit, and like, I feel so awful. And I know people throw around the phrase white guilt, but I think that's what irritates me more than anything. It's just mm-hmm. like, instead of complaining about it or like drowning in self-loathing, whether you're a part of the problem or not, like, I don't know, just go do something about it. But for me, it's just kind of annoying to hear someone like wallow in self-misery and somehow turn these issues into like just a pity party. It feels, it's just kind of irritating to me. I really dislike it.
Okay, interesting. You had the same issue, I think, with the 1975 opener, right? With like the Greta Thunberg like spoken word thing. Yeah.
That one was a little different. But yeah, I think some of the same sentiments are there too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it has some like semi-dreamy shoegazy production that I really like. So, it is a 9-minute track, and midway there is a spoken word piece that I think shows this kind of wrenching despair of like one person who is trying to do stuff to help the world, but one person can't do a whole lot. So, she talks about human inequality, global warming. I thought I heard a little bit of animal cruelty, but I don't. Reading back through it, I don't think it was. Just like the planet in general, both Mother Earth herself and humans. She even mentions like stab Mother Earth and watch her bleed on the verse, which I actually really liked. It was a nice like harmonic.
What?
What?
Stabbing what?
Stab Mother Earth.
Oh.
Do you remember? Yeah. So like she kind of brings this harmonic element into that spoken word, which I thought was very nicely placed to break it up a bit. I can relate to it. I often also rack my head around like just how many cruelties there are in the world, even with stuff that does not involve me. And how like I alone am powerless to all these causes that I want to see fulfilled. I will say the little bit of white guilt. Personally, I think, or my view on that, outside of the song, is that it's not. It doesn't help. But I think in the song, she's trying to express all this pent up like anxiety and despair that she has about it. So I didn't really see it as like a track where it's like, oh, I mentioned these issues and I can't do anything, and I can't do anything. I didn't really see it as that. I saw it as like there's a whole lot of shit going on. I just don't know how long this shit will go on without me losing my mind. I kind of saw it like that. I also like the outro as well. The lyrics saying like I'm getting dizzy. Get me off this ride from like the hellscape that is Earth. I felt the exact same way. So yeah, for me, I thought it was an amazing track. Honestly, it was. I think it being 9 minutes long was absolutely justified because it didn't feel like corned or like prolonged in any way. It had my interest the entire time. So, yeah, boy. Moving on is Ocean. What do you think of this one?
Sorry, this Stromboli, man.
All right. So while you're eating, I'll go first.
Okay.
I thought this was a pretty cool emotional bop. I kind of like the open aquatic piano instrumental, and the guitar plucks along the refrain is great. I think the atmosphere, how it condenses as the song goes on, is pretty good too. It sounds like I'm in a prism in the middle of the ocean as like light is just reflecting. I thought it was really nice production here. The vocal performance here is pretty sorrowful and it's kind of longing in a way. I felt almost every word of it. I felt every word of it, honestly. The theme I got from it was chasing someone while, like, not knowing where they are. Kind of like trying to capture that, lost love or something. Something you would see in, like, a movie. But, especially with how Raphael is describing, like, imagining these certain scenarios where the person she's chasing just magically shows up and not willing to let this person go. It is kind of like you could say it's cliche in its topic, but I think the performance has really sold me on how unique of a dilemma this could be. So yeah, I love it. What about you?
Yeah, Ocean, I thought it was a touching ballad, like you said. It felt pretty sincere. I think what you also mentioned. Sincere, but not overly gushy or preachy or anything like that. It felt very genuine, and I appreciated that about this track. And I felt like, for me, it was that sincerity, that kind of genuine feeling was lacking in the last couple tracks. So I was glad to see it make a return here.
Okay, cool. And then the last track on here is Note to Self. What'd you think about this one? Or are you eating your stumble?
No, I got it. Let me tuck it away. Okay, it's tucked. So Note to Self, it had more of that energy that I wanted from her. But I feel kind of bad because I was less impressed with her energy and more disappointed that I didn't get more of that from the rest of the album. So it was kind of bittersweet in that way. I really liked the stuff at the beginning or the first couple tracks, and then I liked the last couple tracks. And for me, I just felt like it was a shame that I didn't feel exactly the same way about the middle.
Interesting. For me, I thought this was a great way to close off the album. There were some interestingly written verses about like self-reflections in these means of picturing yourself in the cycle of life. It kind of reminds me of like that Mr. Robot episode where Elliot monologues about having a routine, how important it is, and just sticking to it and doing it over and over again until you get to the point where you're no longer questioning why you're doing your routines, you're just doing it. That's kind of what I got from it. And I think in relation to the song, on the last leg of it, hold on, I gotta read my notes. Yeah, okay. On the last leg of it, she's like kind of accepting that shit happens on the outro of the song, and that we must move on, not get caught up in the past. You know, kind of saying, "Oh, this shouldn't have happened. I can't believe this happened." Just like, okay, it happened. Let's see what we can do now. Kind of like that. So I thought it was a very fitting end thematically to the record. That leads us to overall and rating. So What'd you think?
Honestly, I was gonna give it a 15.
Uh-huh.
Since the Stromboli was so good, I'll be generous and give it a 15.5. Yeah, so I think this, more than any other album we've reviewed so far, it had things. It's going to sound cliche. It had things I liked, and it had things I didn't like. No, but I mean, seriously, like the first two tracks, I was like, wow, this is really powerful stuff. Like I feel edified, for lack of a better word, listening to this. And then for the middle, like 5 songs, I'm just like, okay. And then the last two, I felt like that. I don't know. I felt like I could really hear the singer, and I really felt them on like a personal level. I guess like I felt closer to them at those parts.
Right.
So I guess I wish that I had more of that connection throughout the album, and clearly they have demonstrated the ability to connect, in a really powerful and meaningful way, in a unique way. So yeah, really, honestly, is this like one of their earlier albums, or is this like new? I mean, I know it's new, but like,
No,
what is the discography?
this is their 4th one. So their first one was like Native Speaker, I think in the early 2010s. Then they came out with, I don't remember the name of it. I remember I enjoyed it. It's like, it's an album cover where it's like there's this black sphere amongst this gray sea. I like that one too. Their last album was one of my favorite albums of that year, which was Deep in the Iris, which I will say I enjoyed a bit more than this. But yeah, this is their fourth length. Oh my god, their 4th full length album. Yeah, and I think it's been 5 years since Deep in the Iris came out. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, so 15.5. I think maybe I might like one of their other albums more. Maybe
I think you'll like Deep in the Iris a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, like I mentioned, I've been a big time fan of this band. I think they have a very interesting approach to sound, using like elements of like post rock, electronica, and art pop, which I think all blend together seamlessly. I love Raphael's voice. I think she's great. I think the topics they talk about, usually I know it's talking primarily about love. Sometimes they can get political or kind of overtly feminist, as like most of the people I see on some of their music videos comment about and like dislike about the band. But I never found their feminist stuff to really be over glaring or overbearing or annoying. I just thought, that's an interesting perspective. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying, so I'm gonna pull it back to the album. I really enjoyed this album. I think there's a good blend of Deep in the Iris and Native Speaker in terms of like genres. So like there's a good amount of like electronic music in here. The album primarily has this post-rock influence, especially after Young Buck. So I think that was when the album, for you at least, started to not click with you as much, because it wasn't as like accessible, or you weren't really into that sound. Yeah, for me, I'd probably give this one like a 9. I really enjoyed it. I think the only one I am not that hype about was Fear of Men. And that's not because I hated the song topic or anything. It's just musically, it does not do anything to bring me back.
Yeah, if anything, I really wanted that song to be good. I was like, ooh, why is she afraid of men? Like, let me hear something that I, haven't really heard before, that's unique, that's creative. But it wasn't really that great.
Okay, anything else you want to say?
God bless the Italians. God bless Italian food.
Indeed. All right, well, thank you for watching this video. We will see you next time.